Hi everyone, I'd like you to meet Caryn and Joanna. These are some of the busiest women I know. And I particularly wanted you to hear their story because one of the things I admire most about them is how much exercise they get in, despite being busy mothers of 3 children, wives involved in the community, and gainfully employed. So let me start with asking one of the most important questions. What is your motivation for exercising?
I think we have many motivations. I guess we could take turns listing them.
Yeah, why do you do it?
Well, I mean, initially, both of us thought we could trim down a little bit, so we have to admit it started with vanity. But
yeah.
you know, after
But
a
the
while,
close on the heels of that was health.
Right.
You know, we're not getting any younger. We have to keep up with our 3 young children each.
That's right.
So we needed more energy.
Okay,
As well.
so you were at a point where you found, okay, listen, I'm not as energetic as I was just a few years ago and I want to do something about it. Was it like that as well?
well, definitely. I mean, for me, I don't get a lot of sleep, so I have found that I'm very tired and lackluster, and you just start to feel very run down.
Unless
Unless I exercise. When I started exercising regularly, I definitely felt more energetic.
Okay, so that was part of the motivation, wanting to feel good on a regular basis. Okay. Anything
Yes.
else in particular that keeps you going?
I mean, what can I say? I mean, health is really at the top of my list.
Okay.
I mean, after we trimmed off a bit of weight and all of that, which was nice, it was just about, managing our health. So it wasn't just the exercise, but it was also looking at what we were eating. And like Joanna said before, I was kind of feeling a little less energetic than before. So I decided that it was time to, ramp up the exercise again and just slot it in where I could.
Right.
I think as well, going back to the health issue, we have become increasingly sensitized to the link between lack of exercise and a lot of modern day diseases, like chronic illnesses like diabetes and heart disease and hypertension. And in our family, we're cousins. In our family, we have had a few episodes of cancer occurring with some of our aunts and mothers. And we are very conscious of the need to pay attention to our health and pay attention to our bodies, and exercise is a key component to that.
Would you say, looking at the older generation, parents and aunts and uncles, would you say that their health actually suffered because they didn't take some of the precautions that
Well, I mean, we cannot necessarily say that, but what we can say is that there is a known and proven correlation between how you treat your body and your propensity
Yes.
to suffer from some of these chronic
you
diseases.
said that very, very well. Yes. Now the question that everyone must be asking, so what am I so excited about? What exercise are you doing? Like, how many years have you been exercising reasonably regularly? I'm not saying 365 days a year, but how many years have you been at it?
I mean, for myself, I used to exercise fairly regularly before marriage and in earlier years.
Right.
I wouldn't say whether that's 20s or before. Anyway, yeah, I used to exercise a lot before, and as I got married and responsibilities increased, it kind of got pushed to the wayside. I couldn't get out to the gym or get down to the savannah, etc., to do my usual. So, there was a period in time when I was very active, and then it went down to almost nothing.
Yes.
So I decided, it's time to, start it up again.
A lot of women can identify with that. In fact, I have a similar pattern. That's when I stopped after my first child, and then somewhere along the line you have to get started again.
Yeah, I think life just kind of gets in the way, and you prioritize, and unfortunately the exercise got pushed right down.
Was that the same sort of pattern for you, John?
Yes, for me, I would say that I have always been an active person. But I would say that for me, when I was younger, exercise came more naturally. There were more natural opportunities to
like
exercise.
sports, maybe.
I was active in sports. I used to play netball in particular, even football. I was part of the hiking committee, the hiking team. So there were more natural, it was a natural
Yes.
form of exercise.
Yes.
So I wouldn't have been conscious of, okay, I'm exercising.
Right, but you were
But
getting
there were
it
more
in.
opportunities to exercise. And like Caryn, when I was in my teens or late teens and very early 20s, I would have had the time to go to the gym because I could have just scheduled it in after school or after work.
Right.
So I was still able to fit exercise into my routine in a more natural way. When the responsibilities started to add up, the marriage, the children, etc., it became very, very difficult to fit in that time to exercise. So I have had to be a lot more conscious in my efforts to exercise.
So if we look at the last couple of years, I mean, still, I know life sometimes gets in the way because that's just how it is. And even, I think the most diligent of us will find that's the case. On average, in a given 6-month period, what percentage of that time would you say you exercise regularly? Like 80%, 75%?
I would like to break it down
To like a week,
yeah,
Per week. Okay.
And,
That's how it's usually done.
if I look back, I mean, apart from being cousins, we are neighbors.
Yes.
And that has worked out very nicely for us in that we are now just natural workout partners.
Right.
So that in itself, I think you asked before what motivates us as well,
Right.
what helps. And that is one of my motivating factors. You know, if one night I'm feeling, oh gosh, not tonight, Joanna will call me up and say, come on, let's get going. And vice versa.
Yeah, so that is, and that's a very real thing for a lot of people. That you peer support, somebody to encourage you when you need it.
So we try to go for at least 3-4 times a week.
Yeah,
3-4 times
on average.
a week.
We try.
And how long do you exercise for?
1 hour.
An hour, and we say at least a minimum of 30 minutes.
A minimum, okay.
Yes.
But I've seen you guys go for 2 hours.
On average, if we're talking averages, I think it would end up being what 45 minutes
on average.
or so on average.
Okay. And what forms of exercise do you all get busy with?
I mean, I'd say we do 2 main forms of exercise right now. We do speed walking / jogging / sprinting.
Speed walk, right? Yeah.
Well, like so in one 45-minute session, we would do all of the above.
Oh, I've never seen you guys sprint. All right.
We also go to other places to exercise. We don't only exercise.
I got you.
But apart from that, we do try to do some Taibo.
Right.
Just to mix it up on rainy nights.
In particular, when you've got to be indoors. So the Taibo is the kickboxing.
It's a derivative of kickboxing, yes.
And you use a video or the DVDs, okay.
And I just want to say here that the reason we do these things is because we don't really have a lot of babysitting support. You know, we are both busy, as you know.
Yes.
And our husbands are also fairly busy with many meetings.
Yes.
So we have different schedules in the home. So how it has worked out is that late at night, maybe around 9 or so, is the time we get to exercise when the kids have gone down, husbands have come home.
Right.
So you see, leaving to go to a gym,
not practical
anymore. In my previous kind of schedule some years ago, it was easy to go to the gym at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and work out until 7 and then come home. But now I have to just slot it in when I can.
And believe me, a lot of women can identify with that, you know, because it means if you have to leave the house, and most gyms don't have a place where you can keep the kids safely. If you have to leave the house, it means leaving the children with someone again, and you know, how much can you do that, you know? So I think I'm pretty sure you've provided a lot of motivation for people looking at this. Let's see if there's anything else that you want to really share. Specific changes to your diet. What have you done? Because you did mention that you've been looking at what you eat as well.
Right. Well, for me, once again, I would say that eating reasonably healthy has been a lifetime habit.
Okay. Since you were a child.
Right. However, I would say as well that I've definitely been more conscious about what I put in my body. And some of the major changes that I would have made would be the complete migration from white flour or white rice or granulated sugar or any form of processed foods and trying to go back down to the simpler forms of food, so the brown rice, the whole wheat flour, and those the ground provision even, eating more ground provision than I used to, certainly when I was younger. Cutting down on meat, because I quite like meat, so left to my own devices I would eat that quite a bit. But I'm a lot more conscious about the portions of meat that I have.
More moderate portions.
And I've been controlling the carbohydrates a little more, especially as I've said, the simpler carbohydrates.
And does that leave you hungry or not necessarily?
Well, I think initially, for me, and I think I could speak for both of us, when we initially started, our body would scream carbs, carbs.
Yeah.
But after a while, to be honest, your desire for certain foods actually changes. And you start to think, oh, if you eat cake, it's just too rich,
sweet.
too
Yes,
sweet.
yes. The same cake you might have been eating years before.
Or the meat is just too much, or the ice cream and chocolate is just too much. So your tastes actually change over time.
And I really like it that you brought out that point, because I've had a similar experience with a lot of things. Salt, sugar. When you cut back, initially you feel it, but then your body gets adjusted. And then the same things that were bad for you that you used to like or indulge in or crave, you don't want as much of it anymore. And then I think that's true for every healthy move. You know, whether it's reducing your refined carbs, your white rice, white sugar, white flour, or whether it's cutting down on salt, you know, it's the same thing. Any particular advice for all the busy mums out there? And career women as well. Yeah.
I just wanted to add to what Joanna just said. While, and what she has been doing, I have been doing as well. But obviously, this is not a kind of hard and fast, I'm never going to eat cake again.
Yes.
You know, my daughter has a birthday party, I'm not tasting the cake.
Yes.
It's just a lifestyle change.
And
moderation. Moderation is key.
Right.
I do go out from time to time with friends and family. Christmas comes around, different holidays, and you know, I will partake in certain foods. But by and large, you know, my eating habits have definitely changed.
Right.
And as a result,
so it's a lot more disciplined and a lot
more disciplined, and you know, even the eating out has reduced substantially. Because when I do go to eat out again, like you were saying before, the salt, the sugar, all of a sudden it's kind of, you know, I'm tasting it a lot more, and I don't really tolerate it too well anymore. So
right. And here's $1 million question. Since you started your regular exercise and looking at your diet more carefully, which would have been how many years ago? About maybe 5 years ago, 4 years ago?
Around 4, because I would say it was after the birth of my last child.
Right.
She's nearly 4. So
she's nearly 4. Okay. So how much weight have you lost?
Combined. Let's do combined.
Ooh, yeah, that's
what's that?
Combined.
Okay, so let's do some quick combined. We've lost nearly 40 pounds, maybe
combined,
37 pounds.
Wow. Yeah. And you know something else? Remember, because you've been exercising, you've also been gaining muscle.
Exactly.
So, you know, in terms of people who feel that they've got a lot of fat to lose, doing the same thing you've done, relatively speaking, you're losing a lot more. But of course you gain some of the weight in muscle, and that's really what, you know, your body needs in terms of, you know, metabolic balance and good health. So that's fantastic. So thank you, ladies. I've had a great time talking to you, and I'm pretty sure that what you've shared will be of interest and motivation to a lot of other people out there. So thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.